to say she's gonna be in first of all.
Okay, so good afternoon. This is the Downtown Advisory Board meeting for January 22nd. And I'd like to welcome two members, Abigail Whalen and Jensen. Thank you for taking the time to participate. And now let's take a roll call. Iana, Jay, here.
Oh, you can.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Scott Foxworth.
Here.
Jensen. Here. Rory McManus.
Here.
Lori Miller. Here. Angie Owen. Not here. Alan Pollock.
Here.
Kurt Son.
Here.
Ernesto Koskovich. Not here. Abigail Whalen. Here. And Eddie Zakia.
Here.
And how did I say that? Thank you. Okay, so welcome, thank you for coming today. And what is our call to order? We'll just call the meeting to order. Sorry. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is approve the agenda for today.
Second.
Okay. That's been approved. Number 4, approval of the minutes for December 4th, 2025.
Summer board.
Thank you. Now we're coming to our public comment section. Is anyone here from the public that would like to make some comments?
Charles, do you have any comments?
Okay, I guess that's a no, huh? Okay, so then we come to number 6, which is our action items. And that would be for the election of the 2026 Downtown Advisory Board officers.
So I included with your materials, formal procedure. It's gonna be an informal and someone making a nomination for chair and vice chair, and if they agree to approve, agrees, if there's no other nomination, then the group will vote on those two. If someone makes a motion to recommend 2, and then someone else makes another motion to recommend 2 others, and we'll separate them out. You can vote for the chair, the vice chair, and whoever gets the most votes will be selected for chair and vice chair. So,
Are we gonna just go with our hands or?
promise.
Okay. Okay, so does anyone want to nominate anyone? Don't be shy.
I'd like to nominate Cory, and I'd like to nominate Cory, one chair, one vice chair.
And then we ask if every,
So we'll just start, so Lori as chair, Cory as vice chair.
Alex, nominate your son.
For what, vice chair?
any comments?
For vice chair?
Yes.
Okay, so we have.
chair.
So. Let's keep Laurie as the chair, so 2 scenarios where Laurie is the chair and Rory's the vice chair. And another where Rory is chair and Kurt is the vice chair. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll start with the first one, so Rory and Kirk, all in favor? Let's do by hand so we can see it.
By hand.
All in favor by hand, or, okay. Good. And Rory and Rory, that's the 7. It's like the current rate.
So it looks like these 2 what?
You.
Oh, I thought you said Rory.
You're in the right chair.
Darn it. Okay, now you can tell me. Just a minute. Okay, well, let me make sure about that. Okay, so I guess, woohoo! I could just say a few moments. Okay, I want to say a few words. Okay, so so then if that's done, then we actually go on to talk about the draft for fiscal year
Yep.
2027. And
So item 7, this is just the draft, so the next one in February will be the recommendation. So this is active as far as the draft is. So the first one is for the regular, so it's on. Right? Yeah, we're. I included a memo, go through the budget sheet, like the next page. So I just want to highlight some key things. Have two questions to it. You have any questions? Have a chance to look at it.
well, Tori, probably would help when we were gone through to explain what is our role. You know,
So the downtown advisory board is advisory to employees who the city councils. There's usually 1 to 2 cases community with them. And if you watch city council, it's usually following the house that put so Gallon and now is out and for. Usually because they have more things to talk about city council. That's the law. But really, city, but you guys are advisory too. So as far as downtown, so we're front downtown, so it's a district that is geographically specific where tax growth over time, those funds are retained for specific projects and all this has been the packets. So it's a go through it, or I go into it in detail here. Some of the responsibility as far as the advisory nature of this body is tied to the budget. So as far as utilization of the programmable funds for those projects, they're listed. So going to this next year, as far as sequencing, usually the first of the year like this is when draft budget comes out. You guys are preparing it for a recommendation in February. It ultimately goes to the budget. There's a whole other process of city budget. It's a whole separate committee and work with council and members to review the funding. And that goes through its process. So public process till usually late June. It needs to be funded by July, so it's usually the earliest of late June. Late June could create some anxiety, so I think we try to get it on down as soon as possible, just to make sure that it operates smoothly. That's what we're doing now. It's just taking a look at the memo that I have, it just highlights. And so the first one, for example, project coordination support admin costs. So this is really just a anticipated or a conservative estimate. You anticipate the higher staff and true costs, so it's a little bit higher than last fiscal year. That's likely to change. See how this will be. The actual budget document has the last year and the year to date projected. So it kind of gives you an idea of how that's tracking.
A quick question, the fiscal year is what to what?
It's July to end of June, July to July. Yeah, so that's a good point. Depending on corporation, a lot of companies are fiscal year is like the calendar year. Or some organizations that are like this where it's harder to track. So for the longest time, we were technically looking at the budget for 26.7. We just say 27. It's just we're operating now and the fact is it's so it's just a weird. But yeah, it's July to June.
Oh, yeah, I have a question. So if the allocation is 238,000. What was that? I mean, how, How do we go from 238 to 500?
So
That's a lot of.
that's why I wanted to put it on there, yeah. So
Oh, okay,
yeah,
so I'm reading that right. So I'm
Yes.
like, wait a minute, did I
And
miss
if you
something?
watch it, so that line item's on the next page, it's 62,000 is the first one. So you see it is allocated 238,800, and it's been more than that.
Yeah.
So year to date, we're projected 60. I've heard that projections for the next one would be closer to 60, but just to be conservative. So, this comes down to finance multipliers. I can't really tell you, it's assumptions of like staff needs for projects. It's all.
So what happens when it was allocated that, but they've already spent 460? I mean,
Right.
well, they've already spent 383,
Yeah,
so how's that?
so even though that line item is a little higher, the overall, there's the renewable budget in general
Right,
is smaller. So when we get to a point where it's higher, then we have to go back and see. additional
but as long as we have money.
As long as there's things that can be around and
I
it's
see, okay.
overall covered.
They can move around, we got to vote from the city. Okay, thank you.
And we have our budget. Do you have anything to add on this? This used to be a topic of conversations. Bill is the finance.
Let me give you some background on the project coordination support. And that is the past process has been for people that totally directly charge their time with the time sheet. And that's made it difficult for budget to know exactly how much time you spend. And so there's discussion, and part of this was because the city budget issues, they want to have more of a reliable amount. It was going to be, the general fund would be reimbursed by the urban renewal. And so we went through a process of everyone submitting how much time they're spending on urban renewal areas. So it's Tori, everybody here in the office. And we submitted those percentages, because I spent time budgeting the urban renewal areas. So those percentages were submitted to the central budget office. And then the idea was, rather than charging our timesheets as recurring time, there would be a monthly transfer of money from the renewal agreements to the general fund to reflect that. But then we got in the year and we thought, gee, these amounts are really high. And so it turned out they're charging not just our time, but they're also taking the entire operating budget of the office and saying, gee, if 40% of the office's time is urban renewal areas, we're going to take 40% of all the operating budgets also and charge that. And that's something we hadn't planned. Also, the time the budgets were set was in February. This all got decided last May after the budget was set, so we couldn't change that $238,000 now. And now we're being charged right now is more than we ever anticipated. And so we're currently in discussions to say, hey, we don't think that this allocation cost is really accurate. We think we're charging your too much. And so now we're in kind of a time study where people are going back and looking at how much time we're spending. And we're having discussions about should all those operating costs also be charged to your areas, because they're not really specifically incurring any additional utilities because of your renewable areas or anything else. And so, so we're looking to get that worked out really in the next few weeks. So we think this year, yes, going to be backing off on monthly transfers being done and bring the actual cost of down, and then plan for next year. Still 2 or 3 weeks away. So right now we have a projection of, based on the track we're on right now, we think it's going to come over, which we're toward mentioned with that 60.
Okay.
And we'll, once we've got this nailed down for this fiscal year, we have till June to finish the year, and we'll have it budgeted for the studies. And then I think we'll be in a comfortable situation, like budgeted and costs, and have to be a fair allocation to all your.
Questions on that? So the next one, grant programs, most of this is carried over, but there's additional allocation to in the tenth there, so we have, full capital improvement grant program that covers big projects, so like historic buildings that get renovated to have uses of existing buildings, new building construction, they pretty much all have grants tied to them. So this helps facilitate that. There's also a strategic grant program that's set up for security safety. It's a little bit lower, it's 30,000. So the range for the strategic max is between 30,000 and on the capital. So they get more, they have to go through an exception process and go to the urban agency description. That just allows for that sort of projects.
I back up. So streetscape thing. Oh yeah. So. Had money in there last year. Still adding this, but it's in the same stuff as what is down below in phases. Is that why there's nothing in there this time?
Yeah, so there are big phases. I highlighted them. So yeah, as phases move from one spot to the next, those shift. Yeah. So I think that was probably the start, you know. Streetscape were initialized, and then once that started, it started to pay things. So that initial is getting finalized this year. Taking into, like for example, phase 7, that's the new allocation. So you'll start to see the other phases varying because they're moving from design to construction, and then that should take off as well.
Well,
So-
now they kind of know what it costs.
Yeah.
So. Instead of putting bumps up, that makes sense.
So that was the next, well, block 50 site preparation, that was another one that's. So like I said, I wanted to highlight the fact that it's. And that's just anticipated. Planning, so block 50 is this development. It's across the street. And,
Not doing something.
I don't know what happened there, I'm sure, I don't say I'm not keeping it. Yeah. So we have the construction fencing granted. There was a construction screen sign that said block 50. I noticed it today that it's on. I know that we had, when the winds were really high, the fencing was not clear, so I could respond to get that, but. Says. Sign. Everybody wasn't able to be provided. I'm sure. Or block 45, that's another, it's split between South Waterfront and. So it's the other side that has around the corner if you were going south on commercial, see it on the right side, you hit trade. If you're coming around Front Street, it's right on that curve, so that side right there, so you're moving.
So is that moving to the grant amount that's?
Yeah, it's just to retain that, yeah, so we have grant, so if we get to a point where the developer, have one budgeted to allow for. Grant or sustain the site or something. Financially.
Yeah, 60,000 in there. That's the store. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's just the carryover, so the climate action, that was the parking technology, so all of that is. Working through parking's installed, we'll have some additional costs just to. Expensive handhelds, so it's just a line item to allow financing to support technology for me. It's eventually go from solar to the parking side. It's just, that's what I agree.
So I don't know if that's something to see of presentation on at all, or
It's just starting, once we have more, we can share. So that was just starting out. Public art in downtown too, that was one of those conflicts of budget. We were at a place where we were working with same public arts commission and internal staff that it was around the timing of the city's overall financial budgeting was perceptual as we talk about operations of the library and police and fire and then installing public art. So that was put on hold until the fall. So we'll revisit that. So we'll have more information on. That's just carryover, so that's what remains once everything else is budgeted. So for example, like acquisition. Yeah,
those are two projects from two.
sure.
Any other questions about this?
I have an update too on. State goes on here. Have to include it. So that's something you'll see. This is the draft, the actual final budget next month. There's a pedestrian safety downtown. It was an effort by Counselor. It was, we weren't sure where it was going. Public Works. It's already started. So our assumption before we found out that it sort of started was that it's just time to something. Doing it. And now we're finding out that they're just starting that too. So we'll have a couple of updates for you tied to the Limp Creek path and safety, pedestrian safety. Second. So we did that already. We already have that. That cost. I think there are other. I'll know more about this. I'll kick off of this. I don't know if traffic patterns will change. I know there's an effort to try to get. Yeah, bike lanes or. It's a road diagonal. There's I know there's interest in having a drop from 25 miles down to 20 downtown. I'll put that. I'll know more about it. I can share. So thank you for raising the other things that I can share with you that one's probably gonna be back on it. I started.
But I think this is back then.
Next February. I mean, this coming next meeting, February, yeah, so, but I just want to say. Oh, we're February. That's 6. Actually, it's on the packet.
Yeah.
Because it's on 6.
Oh, was it Danny?
And it's just a sheet that we're going on, we'll do that myself, really the.
It'll be like this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, down to the draft for the parking fund. Now, well, you know, I was at the chamber, you know, debate between our mayor and our council. She indicated that she's pushing right now to get it appealed and refunded.
Oh, the parking tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's.
So where do we stand on that?
That's a good question. I think that's is. We anticipate, so when you look at it, the first line on it, you can see the background. This group is advisory to the criminal agency for downtown. There's also a parking district as a tax set. So this body is advisory to the council. That's why it's here. So there's been a downtown parking tax for the parking. And it's essentially a tax on businesses, employees, offset parking fees, costs associated with that. And we're anticipating that going away this year. That's why it's shown. So I don't know where it is politically. It sounds like it will be happening at some point.
Right.
It already happened.
Well, it's no, it has not already happened, but it is in the staff report. Recommending it to go back. The first reading of the ordinance is this, the next Monday, and I'll just like a reading for it. So it is highly likely, I think it's.
There's just a lot of pressure for it to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think that crazy.
Exactly.
Sort of pull back and we take 259. that is been paid year to date, or received year to date. That would go back out as.
So we show it as bad at 57, so I don't think it's the full amount.
There will be full amount.
It will be the full
Yeah.
amount. Okay, so that change.
Uh,
So bad debt, so that was the other separate, if you look at the breakdown for the parking district. The top one is the parking tax, which you want to anticipate for the next year. Next thing, 63, 1,000 after administration. Last line item, we have that in 57,600, it's bad debt, it's right off. Well, I guess it's the 21. So it's the little more than 21,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's voted as we expect.
What is that 63, the indirect cost allocation? Plan. Direct. cost.
Yeah, that's a cost.
That's direct.
Yeah, I'm direct cost, no,
Oh,
so there are other staff outside, so you've got legal, parking, traffic, whatever. The other staff are brought in, finance. Legal,
so it's for other city employees that brought it up.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's ties to that's the tax, so we anticipate returning money to taxpayers. Just haven't paid for it for
Next year.
So,
It taxes it on.
right, yeah, so. It'd probably be, yeah, so it'd be in this one, so it'd be split, so that line was going to change, I guess, so we'll have to work. It should.
What is, what people don't pay. Tickets. So ticket payment goes to general fund. Here, but just, if they don't pay it, is that, us is, and what is that?
If they don't pay. It's not anticipated, like this was, I mean, we know with taxes. They're not paying that, either we can pursue legally or.
I mean, people citations, right?
Yeah,
On citations that are issued. Because they park the meter, they,
that would probably be non-general fund if they were not. Get that in on that. Right, well, that debt, we'll still have to account for that, so whatever that's called, there'll be some for this year. I don't know if that'll be enough. I don't know, I don't know how that will.
hey,
Show,
back this year.
makes sense to at least. I don't know if it'll be spread. But.
It's not a year on that indirect cost allocation line. Is that told to you guys then from that finance, what that number is, or how does that number actually? So that's a ask.
Finance provides and they actually enter budgets in the system, so that particular line item is like. Give it some percentage.
Yeah, that's a lot of bucks.
I think going back several years, which a couple all is the goal of parking that starts generating a lot of money, which it is. That then allows us to do a lot more things downtown, and fund things downtown. And I don't really see much being added other than what's kind of in there. I don't know.
It'll be a slow growth, yeah, because it shows an increase of 220,000, but we have. Additional security. It's going up a little bit more.
Well, and the security was paid by general fund in the past,
Yeah.
we're now paying, so. That's, and the indirect is ICAP, and that is, what, 2 years in arrears, so it's, what happened 2 years ago is what we actually pay in each time this year, so. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Security meaning, private security or
Is that
Yeah,
a
for the-
security?
yeah.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
24 hour the car.
Yeah,
and
in the
actually
park
person
gates.
walking in there.
One other thing I'd like to mention on the ICAP is that I found out, even though the general fund was paying security, they're making us pay them back through the ICAP. Their payment of security is being more than the ICAP. So I'm going to ultimately over time to have to repay general fund to pay security. So that's part of what it's on.
So will that number then start to go down then after we
Yes.
pay that off
Pay it
over the
off.
last couple of years?
Yep.
And then we're doing work out of Marion. Is it Marion that's gonna get to work or
Yeah, but that's
Marion
their-
this time?
That's their.
Oh, that's,
Is there a parking structure that's on there? It's 450. That's, we can pay for maintenance now out of this, which we can't pay for maintenance out of the other one. Right? So is that kind of plan for that type of stuff or? So. The other. Where zero out. This one doesn't have to zero out. We can leave money in it that will go year to year. But if this group decided wanted to have hanging baskets, that was. Yeah. Is that something that we should right now be saying? We should have a line item in there for XYZ for 50,000 to just. Have something there, because if we leave it as the 221 left over. We'd have to come back and add another.
Yeah, if you had something like that. Yeah. Not now, for the next time, but if you have that, like we're doing it. You can have suggestions, I can speak that. Add it, so have. I don't know what the amount would be for any baskets, I have to check and see. What. This contract, so I can get more information.
Do you, is it something that you can email after? 'Cause there was a. Survey done about like all the things downtown should be doing.
Yeah, I think the those results too, so we did that, but one where going into the parking. Implementation of parking. So that's another thing that I'm.
Is it something you could email ahead of time, so if people wanted to think like, oh, that's something I see at work, then I'm gonna bring a motion to add that.
Yeah,
Just so there's some ideas.
Yeah. I think it still came down to like the former one did, and of course, there's a lot more feedback on parking, so. So paid parking in general, a lot. But then as far as utilization of funds, it's still this. Spread about safety, security, cleanliness,
still on top.
yeah. But yeah. Right. Yeah, I think that's a good idea to. Want to see, say, $100,000. You things or get baskets or something.
So maybe it was Eric, it's exciting.
Yeah, right, and you talked about it, so.
Yeah.
Last time I was here, scratching the bottom arrow.
And they're, and Sheree did those banners, but I had some banners go up last year. It's Tory
Well,
on
that's
the
the
street.
Main Street,
But that was a Sheree, they said Main Street.
that's a good question.
You remember with the kayaker
Yeah.
and stuff?
The seasonal, so for that.
Okay.
The light fixtures.
Banner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lights.
In years past to. The city, I don't know what fund it came out of. The city supported. The parade. The holiday time parade. Is that a general fund thing before, or Would it come out of this, because it had no money?
Yeah, that's a question. I think it was on the fire general fund, I don't.
When it was first kind of starting.
You're talking about 4 years ago, or yeah, oh,
Yeah.
20 years.
Not that, not that.
Sorry.
that was fun. I think that, because it's Main Street now, right, that's this level, right, I think they got something like a Kickstarter from the general fund, but that's just hearsay.
Cause I don't know how, I mean. There's police officers,
Right.
there's public works, there's a lot of work that gets paid, and I'm curious how that is. Like Main Street's paying for it, maybe they
I
are.
thought that it was funded by Main Street, but.
This year it was funded by Main Street, where those funds started,
For time?
I don't remember, not sure. I mean,
But
I suppose we got
yes, I wonder if that's something that, you know, to talk about next time, to add in something to put towards. To help make sure it's, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people in town. Well, what I'd be worried about that, is that it's a real easy road cross out on general.
I think something too, like, that's what I said, it's one of those where it's nice to contract with someone, because it's not really anywhere we have storage area, where we can like retain so much material. Yes. So. It's something, like, so when I look into it, it finds. Seriously, there's not represented. Maybe so too. Well, and you do have representation in business. It's for space and so, but as far as like leadership changes, so, but I have. You know, how the movement is counted as at large. So if Alan is retiring, it's not moves, then there's an opening for a business like downtown. That's the, yeah. You have other representation too, new representation, so. The other materials are this information, the group requested reports on paid parking. The gas, extension. Yeah,
So their point deposits, did they go somewhere in November?
They don't pick them up every. Like, they like kind of have to go through.
they don't count it all.
No, they just don't.
It's,
They can only pick so many.
So if they happen to pick it up December first.
Yeah.
It doesn't get counted in November, even though it was all in November.
Nope. Yeah, it's when it hits the bank. So
that would explain till, well, yeah, July.
it
August.
could have easily been picked up in November and not gotten to the bank until December.
Do you know why the spike of?
Yeah, it's a good question, we talked about that ourselves.
Yeah, Kristen was like, wow, look at that, what an activity.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, what I mean, it's 241,000 total credit card collected, so I mean, it, you know, it's up 20 from September and then another 60 higher still in November and December.
That wasn't.
Well, we know why November went down, right?
I don't know.
Because we had free Saturdays and
Yeah.
the,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, so November went down intentionally.
Yeah.
And we created.
At
something
December
with
too,
it.
yeah, dates off.
Yeah, exactly. So, but October was no special days.
We have multiple community kid trick or treat safety.
Oh,
stuff.
right.
So
Oh,
before
there you go.
years and down to Champion Street.
Yeah.
Three different organizations have them, so imagine a monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good, then we need to have more of those.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Just for my information, the library revenue, is that parking at the library in their parking garage?
Yeah, that's separate.
And it's only $150 a month.
Yeah.
Well, it's 75 cents an hour too, it's like. half
And it's
the
after
price.
3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah,
Oh, so it's free for 3 hours. So,
They're a lot better for folks with some research. Sure.
I've been parked in that garage once, so. I'm living within walking distance.
Or people, yeah, so people are using the parking garages now?
I mean, I feel like from personal experience, there's not really a full parking garage, so it doesn't make sense. It seems like street parking is abundant and right parking is abundant. Obviously shown. Quite a bit, so.
Yeah. Well, once the other apartment thing comes up, and
There's one on Schmecker going up right now, right?
should I get a church?
Schmecker Church. 45 is going up soon, I hope.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, we'll have more. There's other projects, hopefully, that will start.
Is there a proposal for on-street parking permits, is that a thing? Or is a parking garage?
Right now it's just paid, there's not.
I get that. Maybe is that.
I think right now we're just, want to see base level.
Yeah.
So as soon as we have statistics at least for a year and then see what happens. Different charts, different timing and different sections, like. Complicated, that
Sure.
but it'd be nice to have a. I think there are a couple.
I've heard from that town, so one is if there was the ability to have a 15-minute option, right, then for people that if you're literally just grabbing the food from somewhere, running in, running out, and rather than just taking the chance that.
A lot of blinking lights out
Drop
there.
in the quarter, 5 cents, have to change.
Yeah, having to change, or having to do it on the app.
The app is already on, so
Yeah,
right,
yeah. So that, something to look at.
we looked at it, it's monitoring it. So
Yeah.
to be able, it ends up being, it's free all the time,
Mhm.
how do you track? We don't have enough parking enforcement officers to rotate every 15 minutes or even every 30 minutes, so. There's a significant problem, so it's either free or it's not. So,
Scroll the dice. The other comment just made means when you do the free marking days. That's just an opportunity for all the residents and workers to park.
yeah,
All their license plates are in the system, right? Because that's how these are getting tracked for downtown resident warnings and whatnot. Are those getting tagged when that happens on the free days, or is it literally free and they get parked?
literally free.
I think that's
So I don't know if that meets the goal of what free is supposed to be, but.
Yeah, we had a lot of, we had some differing response to that. A lot of people really liked it, and others, we had a couple very clearly that doesn't keep, so. Yeah. I don't know how that's, but I definitely heard it.
I mean, to give a relative perspective, if I'm in downtown, I'm eating lunch downtown, shopping.
Yeah.
So like, a major parking lot, supposed to be. Maybe not, take my groceries upstairs. No,
Yeah, that's fine.
$2.
Yeah. Sounds.
But it has been nice that now people can park in front of the restaurant they want to do, they don't have to
Oh, yeah.
schlep 3 blocks and so.
Still have.
It's been better. I know.
I'm downtown all the time, yeah, so my wife and I both work here, both of us eat downtown. Yeah, so I'll pick her up, it's the same thing,
And when.
I go wild bear, I can't park her, circling, and fine, what's that?
You're young, you're supposed to be walking.
I don't mind.
Then you put your
I like to
steps
take the shots, sorry.
Okay, so then next meeting, February.
But really quick, sorry.
What?
I don't mean to interrupt you. So as far as like the next meeting topics, we've been asked to by legal, so there's another hashtag underneath your board election. Been asked to see if there are ways to open representation levels of more on like acting board for the committees. So I don't know, in your experience, seeing like a certain representation or vision by both sides. So on one hand, the population is not being served or represented by, since we're talking downtown Placerville specifically, if that's being missed somehow. On the other hand, just in general, like if there's a vacant seat that's hard to fill. What that one? Do you have any suggestions on that? Communicate that to legal. Or so, for example, in this, the ownership of terms, so we have the downtown resident. States for business property, so. Is that sufficient? Is it too many? Would you like to see more flexibility? So like, for example, the at-large position. That kind of flexible. Anyone in the city of Salem that has interest in downtown could apply to that. There's some on the plus side, anyone can apply for it, so it's a easier fill. Downside, there might be this opportunity for population downtown. Other representation. for
Well, now
downtown.
that we have, I mean, now that we have more residents downtown, we should have more than one position,
Residents.
don't you think? I mean, well,
Yeah,
that's downtown's their backyard. I
It
mean,
makes sense to me too, because I mean, that is a large part of the development and change downtown. More people
that we want.
That was changing that was.
And you take something away.
Just said.
We could take the,
You can
we could
split.
get rid of real estate developers. And we could just get rid of one on the property, business
Yes.
property owner.
Right, so you
You
can
know.
split that maybe 3-3, so you have still representation of business property owner, but then you have more residents, or you can do 2-4.
What's
There's a total of 7, so.
what's the difference between council and agency? They're essentially both the same, but why is one different than the other?
That's a good question. I'd have to look at how it breaks that, that this is the,
So recruitment renewal supposed to have certain representation on it, and that's why it's like that.
yeah, I'll check on that. I think it's still an agency one, but I'll check and see what it's, I don't know if it's because property owners was finance.
Place. But we mentioned that it'd be increasing.
Yeah.
Well, everybody should know.
Seats.
It's hard. Well, I think it's successful. The problem we've had years prior to is not getting enough people here. Period two, so I would kind of hate to move it and then struggle to find downtown residents to participate in. And then we've lost 2 off of. So I guess, yeah. Seeing if we can add to 13, now that all 13 actually show up every time, that would be surprising, but.
I think right now we'll just stay focused on the representation piece rather than the increase. I'll note that, but I think what they're looking for specifically is, are we missing something? Like, can we, is there a population that feels maybe excluded, represented as a result of how it's framed? I guess on the resident side, if you're like,
Sure.
you two, since you're residents, is it hard for work maybe elsewhere? Is it hard to make a new meeting?
Yeah, I mean. I work from home, so it's kind of a unique position. I think the residents downtown, my perception at least, is that they could probably make it work, they might work out from a restaurant. Like work. Make it work, sometimes it's challenging, but. Cause I guess like, if you guys have a business that's downtown, for you to be here and then leave, it feels like, oh yeah, I'm going to. Something that affects the business versus like me as a resident, if I tell my employer I'm gonna come to it. Hour and a half meeting, they have to be volunteering for something, and that has been the case, and like, I personally found that support, but I don't know. And that would be challenging for the average resident,
I'm just curious.
yeah. And like, I was around the block, so it was easy for me to use like a lunch break kind of thing, if they're. Further downtown. But I think on the recruitment part of resident downtown, I happened to find this on Facebook, there was a posting that was shared with me. If there was posting around the residential areas to give visibility, I think you would be able to attract residents. It's just more of like an awareness thing for that population.
I'll give you an announcement of the neighborhood association and do.
Yeah.
That's that. That's what I'm
It's gonna, I imagine, self-select to some degree, there's a higher tendency. Folks downtown that would have easier time making meetings. And like say people who work closer, I live downtown, I work a mile from here, you know, it's not a big deal to me, but if I. You know, a Kubler or something, that's another half an hour. But there's. I think there's a population to choose from, and you're gonna find the interested parties, like say at a can-do meeting or whatever, that are already people who care about it.
Is there something else? Yeah, well, no, I mean, if there's not anything that stands out, I'm fairly new to, I'm sure he used to. Possible person in place, forever, students, staff person, not filling now. Now that I've been here, I haven't noticed. We had 2 openings, I mean, 2 that turned out, and almost immediately we had 2 filled, so. I would say downtown, there's a lot of enthusiasm. Timing. Vision. Just the downtown nature of it. Just seems like it's a tier 1, so it's hard for me when I go through it to say like this is simple, but I would change. I also work in West Salem. Where we have really hard time for so we made that suggestion. I don't have anything. I was just only improvement if I think it's a good idea to have additional. Says, but as far as like, there's not anything stands out or kind of group issue group. I'll say. This other document back in here. Yeah, what is this? So that's basically what the budget, look at the, so, referring to the last. That's what the budget actually looks like. Okay, it's broken down a little easier, yeah, it's broken down a little easier for you to see on a single page. Earlier packet, one I'm referring to, but ultimately, that's what it will look like when it goes, you know, bring it up online. You were looking at the topic, but that's.
Just a lot of referencing there, things, so.
Yeah. Those will be done, this is just draft, everything's just draft, that's just not important.
Well, okay. Anyone have any other questions?
Sorry, I interrupted, it says topic, so. Other meeting topics, we have ideas for. That was.
That's the next one, meeting topic, yes. Oh, calendar year, yeah, because we were gonna get an update on 145. Right, and does anybody else have something that they're interested in having We have to do the legal thing again this year too.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, so that's just.
You don't have to add that, that just gets.
Okay, that's just add.
Be there.
So why don't you block 45? Is there anything that you guys would like to read to get some on the
Yeah, good
agenda?
look, block 50. Also, yeah, I'll do obtain something.
Size.
That's a good, I was gonna mention that, we do
Oh.
get updates, I think this group will be impacted, so have should bring Modoc back. Yes, we should have this communicated.
I guess consider that, I thought.
Well, originally,
I'm in denial.
You're right.
Yeah, well, that's a good one, we'll include Modoc. It's not screw.
Yeah.
Good one, Abigail.
The amphitheater.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
use of parks and yeah, events. It's parks.
That's such a fancy price.
We had a girl that was in like some years back. Yeah. Did you still live?
Well, yeah, now she can tell us what, how about some,
Just treating a different person.
that was awesome.
It'd be good to. Maybe have them sooner rather than later, so we can hear their vision for it. And to see if there's anything this group wants to get them to think about it.
Say March is summer.
Yeah,
It's like probably March.
Was the Ironman?
Sure, I'm sure.
How long are those contracts?
Right here. So. Second here.
So.
Second, okay. What's the year end?
Water.
so I didn't think so you're coming back again, I know Derek, it's just here to go. Okay, let's go or 2 months ago.
Getting into summer soon, like the fence.
They, Main Street, I will do it music day, or is that just?
That'd be a good one.
I don't know, the main music thing is just kind of organic from the sign up on the net.
Yeah, well, I think it's franchise, because I think because of the City Rock Academies who.
Oh.
There's a lot of organizations that my employees is very helpful.
Well, I was involved the first year, but kind of like, whoop.
Yeah,
You know, and it was like, hey, come to the plaza, play music, and
That's pretty bad one.
it has,
Oh, that's 2 weeks off.
well,
Maybe good year uniform.
The other thing. Too, I'm curious about is like all the projects that have been funded. Having a presentation, yeah, so that this group understands like, oh, that was something, yeah, this group's.
It'd be nice to have, yeah, reports open there. But they have a lot of tenants in, they're still. It'd be nice to have. The grant funded projects developments.
very much was a fear.
So.
I'm not opening my mouth again.
If you get a refuge, me.
Okay, does anybody have anything else they would like to add, share, etc.? Okay, well then I guess if that's that, we will adjourn early. Because we're awesome. And we will see everyone here February 26th.